As his legal team defends him inside the courthouse, Donald Trump is growing frustrated at the striking lack of support outside. On his Truth Social app, Trump asked supporters to go out and peacefully protest, rally behind MAGA, but to no avail. This morning, the designated protest area outside the courthouse contained only a handful of people and none visibly supporting the former president. He blames the poor showing on heightened security protocols.
For great Americans, people that want to come down and they want to protest at the court and they want to protest peacefully, we have more police presence here than anyone's ever seen. For blocks, you can't get near this courthouse.
Well, that's not true, because at the exact moment Trump was speaking, our Vaughn Hilliard was right there outside the courthouse. He took this footage from his lockdown camera space, and streets are open, pedestrians are walking, vehicles are driving. Brendan Buck is an MSNBC political analyst who served as an aide to House Speakers Paul Ryan and John Boehner. Dasha Burns is here with me. Look, this is not new. A very small number of supporters have been showing up periodically since the trial started. Very small, but what can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, I was there yesterday at the courthouse. I was there last week, and it's what you just saw there. There are some lone protesters, many of them actually not talking about the case at all, having their own soapboxes about various issues they want to talk about, using the media that's there to try and call attention to whatever it is that they want to say that day. And no one's stopping anybody from doing that. I think what's also interesting is we haven't seen any Trump's family members show up. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily expect Melania to sit there during a hush money trial talking about Trump's, alleged affairs and whatnot, but not Don Jr., not Eric. No one from his family has come out to the court to support him. And so we've seen him really lean on the media a lot. He spent a lot of time talking to press, and we've seen him start to do these retail stops around New York. I was there when he stopped at a bodega a couple of weeks ago, and there were some crowds. His campaign had organized some people standing around. He's actually spent a lot of time talking to supporters there. So, this is a man who really enjoys the adoration, the attention, and we see him here kind of yearning for that.
Yeah, and he's not getting those big rallies and all the cheering that he got before. So, Brendan, when Trump called on people, of course, to show up on January 6th, we know how that ended. And to date, more than 1,300 people have been charged in the attack on the Capitol. I wonder what you think this lack of response is. Is it about it's Manhattan, which is mostly Democratic? Is it that supporters don't want to take the risk? They saw what happened on January 6th. Or is it maybe that overall that passionate level of support is just waning?
Well, I certainly think it's those first two things, but that last one is the question that I have. How much of the thrill is gone? I mean, this is not the first time that Donald Trump, around these indictments, has called for large protests, and they just haven't shown up. When he got indicted, he would post the exact same things, and people generally didn't do anything. I imagine if you watched what happened on January 6th, you're a little hesitant to go out and maybe replay that. Let's not kid ourselves, though. Donald Trump still has enormous sway over the Republican grassroots, but he's also always been able to take advantage of these situations and play victim. And if he somehow is not able to capitalize, not play victim in a way that benefits him here, that is problematic for him because, as we all know, this is not the only trial that he's going to have. He's going to spend a significant amount of the rest of the year doing this. And if this is just washing over his supporters, if they're not paying attention, if he's not able to capitalize on it, it could be a big problem for him. I think the jury is still out on that. We haven't seen enough polling since this all began, but it's the key question to watch out for because it's going to be with us all year.
Yeah, and there was a poll, and let me put it in a little bit of context for you. So the largest crowd so far down at the Manhattan court, and it wasn't large, by the way, was last Monday for the start of the trial. And one of the organizers last Monday attributed the small turnout to people having to work, to late notice, although the start of the trial had been known for many days. Another participant suggested that people are just tired of the trials. Could it be maybe that people are just tired of it all? Our latest NBC poll showed that election interest is lower this time than it has been at this particular moment for the last 4 presidential elections. Are people just tired?
They might be. I mean, I think all of us are worn down by it, and that's maybe to his benefit that this all washes over it. I mean, His supporters may not be rallying behind him, but it also may be a situation where people are just tuning him out. And what was so beneficial to him is we couldn't take our eyes off of Donald Trump before. He blocked out the sun. He was all that we could talk about. And I just, you get the sense that that's not happening this time. I do think, though, that this trial is probably the least important one for him going forward. It's a somewhat tortured legal theory. We already sort of know the underlying facts of what happened here. How the facts come out on January 6th and on his election interference trials, I think are going to be much more important, much more damning, and could have influence on what happens. We all kind of know that Donald Trump is a bit of a sleazy guy. Even his supporters know that. I think reliving what happened on January 6th could be much more damaging for him.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.